2022 was a year full of turbulence, a year full of so many challenges for small and medium-sized companies. But we've gone past that year. We're in 2023 now. And so as the year begins, as organizations finalize their strategy and fine-tune their goals and KPIs that they are going to be working on for this year, there are a few things that I would like to share with key decision makers, managers, and owner managers on how they should approach strategy this year. So I'll be sharing 5 lessons. The first one is about setting the vision. And I don't want to do this academic style. I want to, use quotes that we are all, find relatable quotes that we are very familiar with. So there's this popular one, I think from the Bible, that says, where there is no vision, the people would perish. So we are not suggesting that you reset your vision. We are not suggesting that every year, at the beginning of every year, you formulate a new vision. But rather, what we are suggesting is that you either become very clear and intentional about your vision and communicate it to your staff. That way, everyone knows the North Star that we are working towards. So the first thing that owner managers and management should do is that they remind staff about the vision and the long-term direction of the organization. They let everyone understand that this is where we are headed to and this is what our vision for the organization is. The vision is what would rally the entire team. The vision is what will rally everybody within the organization. The vision should be very audacious. The vision should be set far ahead in the future. And to clarify what your vision is, to know whether your vision is compelling enough or not, ask yourself this simple question. When your staff hear the vision, does it empower them? Does it make them feel like they can go out there and make a difference in the world? Once the vision is done, once the vision is clarified, we need to move on to set the objectives. A goal without a plan is just a wish. So no matter how highbrow or very motivating and compelling your vision is, you need a set of objectives that we are going to work on or aim at in achieving the vision. So what are your key objectives for the year? What are the milestones? There's 12 months in the year, there's 4 quarters in the year. What are your key strategic objectives for the first quarter? What are your key strategic objectives for the second? And what are your key strategic objectives for each of the remaining quarters? We need to be clear about what our objectives are. And that this doesn't have to be a plethora of objectives. This has to be the key strategic objectives. And I recommend about 12, nothing more than 15. Why is that? If we have this number, then we are able to spread it across each quarter. So for instance, every quarter we have 3 to 5 strategic objectives that we'll be focusing on, and that is what the entire organization will be rallied around. And every month when we meet and discuss performance, these strategic objectives would be the reference points for our conversations and meetings. Knowing vision is step 1, setting the objectives is step 2, step 3 is clarifying what your strategy is. Once you have a goal, you need a strategy to achieve your goal. The famous Stoic philosopher Seneca is noted to have said this, that if you do not know to which port you are sailing, then any wind is favorable. So it means that you need to be clear about what port you are sailing to. That way you can tell which of the winds you need to adjust your sails to. So you know your vision, you've set your strategic objectives for each quarter of the year. You need to set your strategy. You need to formulate your strategy. You need to have the strategy that you are going to be implementing in achieving your quarterly objectives, which would be moving you and inching you closer to your vision. You may not be interested in strategy, but strategy is interested in you. Clarify the vision, fine-tune your objectives, and set a strategy that your team would work around collectively on in achieving the objectives for the year. The 4th stage is about strategy execution. Plans are good, but without execution, plans are useless. No matter how good your strategy is, it needs to be executed. And it is said that a bad strategy can be salvaged by good tactics. But no matter how good your strategy is, it cannot get in the way of bad tactics. That is to say that Once you have your strategy, you need to break it down into tactics, i.e., steps and actions that can be implemented. And strategy execution is where the rubber meets the road. I've seen organizations formulate amazing, strategies, but not enough good tactics or not enough in good initiatives to help them implement the strategy. So after you've clarified your vision, once you know what your strategic objectives are, once you know what your strategy is that you're going to be working on with your team to achieve your objectives, you need to move on to implementation. In implementation, simply all you're doing is this. You take your strategy, you have your strategic objectives in perspective, and you have key actions, initiatives, i.e. tactics that your team and yourself, the management team, would be working on day after day to achieve your results. Good strategy is meaningless and useless without good tactical execution. The final stage of the strategic management process is, for many, the most important. That is where management earns their money, and that is about monitoring and performance measurement. So you may know what your vision is, you may have your objectives, you may have a clear strategy, and you might be executing excellently, but you still need to monitor performance. You need to keep measuring how well or how poorly you are doing towards achieving your strategic goals. So in the final stage, you ought to have a mechanism or a framework or a system that management would use day in, day out, that frontline management, middle management, senior management would use in measuring performance. How do we know we are moving closer to our targets or not? How do we know that staff coming in, day out, are working on the strategic goals? 365 days in a year, 4 quarters, several hours in a day. We need to make sure that every action being taken at the workplace is moving us towards our goals. How do we do that? We do that through performance management, performance measurement, and having monitoring systems, management control systems in place that we use to measure performance and always check the extent to which we are moving closer or far away from our goals. That way we can be making adjustments as we go along. What is measured is what gets done, and what gets done needs to be monitored.